The Chicago Bears season has been a massive disappointment thus far, so that begs the question, should the Chicago Bears consider firing their head coach, Matt Nagy? What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL. Here to talk about, of course, the Bears and the topic that I posed for you guys, and it is quite a question to think about. So I've got a lot to say about this very issue. But before I do, if you are new to the channel, welcome. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe by hitting the big red subscribe button down below. Turn on my post notifications because I do talk a lot of football on this channel. You don't want to miss out, especially Bears content. And follow me on my social media, guys. That's the best place to reach me, guys. Twitter, Instagram, all of that. Of course, I read your comments as well. But go ahead and follow me on my social media, guys. Links down below and on the screen as well. So with that being said, let's talk about it. Let's get into this issue. So the Chicago Bears, as we all know, are 3-5 on the year thus far and dead last in their division. In a year, a lot of folks, including myself, had high hopes for this team as not just one of the best teams in the division, not just one of the best teams in the conference, but one of the best teams in the NFL in general, and a Super Bowl contender. They were supposed to take that leap from a breakout 12-4 season last year, and it just didn't happen. Not only did it not happen, no, they went backwards. It's one thing to stay, where you are and stay at that level, but it's a whole nother issue if you begin to regress, and that is exactly what is going on right now with the Chicago Bears team. Now, I have spoken at nauseum about the quarterback struggles, okay? The reason I don't want to talk about that anymore is because I've done it enough, and folks have done it enough, quite frankly. Mitch Trubisky has gotten a lot of criticism, and deservedly so. His play has been flat out awful, okay? He's been bad. We get it. So I've addressed that. Plenty of videos you guys can go look at where I talk about, of course, Mitch and his play and is he regressing? What should the Bears do? And this is the other thing where people are talking about, okay, replacements for the Bears at quarterback. And here's my thing, okay? Again, we've already discussed the Mitch thing. My larger question here is, and I've been very adamant about this, is with the criticism of Matt Nagy, okay? Matt Nagy have been very critical, and I believe rightfully so, with his awful play calling. And this is not because, I was not in Matt Nagy's corner last year. I was his biggest supporter. I loved the hire when we hired Matt Nagy. But I call it like I see it, folks. That's why you guys follow me for a reason. You guys know I will not sugarcoat anything. And Matt Nagy has been awful with his play calling, okay? Just as Mitch has been awful with quarterbacking, Matt Nagy has been awful with play calling. So that begs the question, if you are ready to replace the quarterback, why are you not ready to replace the head coach? Just want to throw that out there, right? So talking about Matt Nagy on the hot seat, this doesn't seem to get a lot of traction as much as, of course, replacing Mitch Trubisky does, okay? And my hunch here really is, of course, Matt Nagy's been here, less than Trubisky has. Matt Nagy is just in his second season with the Bears. Mitch Trubisky is, of course, in his third season with the Bears. So Matt Nagy has that going for him. And the second thing is, and it's funny people say this, Mitch Trubisky was not, the guy that Matt Nagy drafted. He kind of inherited Mitch Trubisky because, of course, we all know the Bears drafted Mitch under the John Fox regime, and then they fired John Fox, thank God, and then they hired Matt Nagy, and he basically inherited Mitch Trubisky. And now, of course, when it goes wrong, because the first year with Matt Nagy was a glowing success, Mitch Trubisky makes the Pro Bowl, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, number 3 in QBR, 12-4 record, we get it. First year, huge success, right? Second year, it's falling apart, and Matt Nagy, all of a sudden, people want to talk about he didn't pick Mitch Trubisky. Folks, Matt Nagy had other head coaching offers out there, I'm sure. The Colts job, when Andrew Luck was still in the NFL, I believe was out there at the time, before Frank Reich took it. I believe Matt Nagy was one of the contenders. There were a few jobs out there, okay? Maybe the Bengals job, I'm having a hard time remembering, but I do know this. The Bears job wasn't the only job, okay? And I remember this for sure, okay? When the Bears job was up for grabs, when we fired John Fox, you can go look it up. The biggest proponent of anybody that was going to take that head coaching job was that you needed to be sold on Mitch Trubisky. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. That was the biggest thing, a guy to come in here and develop Mitch Trubisky. Now, Matt Nagy came in here. Of course, he agreed to that, so that means he was obviously sold on Mitch Trubisky, so I don't want to hear that he wasn't. Now that it's not working, the second reason is it did work the first year, okay? Now the second year it hasn't. For whatever reason, Mitch Trubisky could have regressed. Matt Nagy could have regressed at his play calling. It hasn't worked out. So now, just like Mitch Trubisky, folks want to call for his job, which is absolutely fair. Can we not call for Matt Nagy's job? I know it's his second season. I know that's way too early in some people's eyes. But folks, this is a team and a town with a lot of expectations, and Matt Nagy just hasn't delivered. Now, again, I'm just proposing the question and really asking why the narrative is more against Mitch than it is Matt Nagy, because they both had the same level of success last year. Matt Nagy won Coach of the Year. Mitch Trubisky was a Pro Bowl quarterback. And then in year two, it's more Mitch than Matt Nagy, according to folks. Because to me, like I said, I've seen the play calling. It's been bad. He does not put his guys, in the right positions to succeed. He hasn't run the ball enough. I mean, I've talked ad nauseum about this. If you guys follow my channel, you guys should know this by now. In terms of the play calling, it's been very, very bad. And here's the thing. Here's the other thing I'll say. Usually, head coaches get the axe first. If something goes wrong with the team, the first person, and this is across sports because it happens in the NBA as well, the first person that's gone is the head coach. You keep the star player. Of course, I'm not calling Mitch Trubisky a star, but you keep the player, okay? And you make it work around the player, because who's more replaceable? And here's where I will say, who's more replaceable, Matt Nagy or Mitch Trubisky? Well, here's the thing. It's harder to find a quarterback than it is to find a head coach. And when I say find one, I'm talking about, of course, the right one. So it is harder to find the right quarterback than the right head coach. So if you were to fire Matt Nagy and somebody else comes in here and they are able to make it work with Mitch Trubisky, why not? Okay, because here's my thing. If we're saying, Mitch Trubisky is not the guy, he can't work, well, he's only had John Fox and Matt Nagy, right? I mean, John Fox, it clearly didn't work, but with Matt Nagy, it did work. So I'm just asking the question. Ultimately, to me, I will give my opinion in a moment here, but I'm just asking why this question has not been brought up as much as people calling for Mitch's job. And to me, my two hunches are around the fact that Matt Nagy's been here not as long as Mitch, and the fact that, Matt Nagy had so much success last year, and people think it's, for whatever reason, he's a better coach than Mitch Trubisky's a better quarterback. But to me, this year, he's been just as much to blame. You guys can go look at the tape with some of the play calling. It's been bad. So ultimately, where am I at with this? Okay, if you ask me the question, should the Bears fire head coach Matt Nagy, what would my honest answer be? And every time I think about it, and every time I try to, see if I could feel a different way, I can't. And I keep going back to saying, no, I don't believe the Bears should fire Matt Nagy. And it sounds very, hypocritical really of me to say that, because I've been critical of his play calling. But the reason I say the Bears shouldn't fire Matt Nagy is the same reason I say the Bears shouldn't bench Mitch Trubisky right now. Because to me, in a lost season essentially now, there is nothing out there in terms of a head coach or in terms of a quarterback where we bring them in and they make us Super Bowl contenders, in my opinion. Okay? Either you fix it internally or you just let it go south. And now here's the thing. Of course, if you fix it internally, great. Hope it works out. But if you let it go south, it could also work out because you get a higher draft pick and, it could be better for your future. But here's why you don't fire Matt Nagy, okay? Culture. That's it. It's honestly culture, because it's the same thing I said about Mitch. People are talking about benching Mitch and bringing in Chase Daniel. Folks, Chase Daniel is nice. He could potentially play better than Mitch. Won't do a single thing for us. It's a waste of time. Okay? A complete waste. Chase Daniel is not taking this team anywhere. Okay? So I would rather have Mitch under center. And again, same thing with Matt Nagy. The reason I want to stick with Matt Nagy is culture reasons. I don't want to turn into the Browns. I don't want to turn into one of these organizations that every 2 years we recycle coaches. It's a revolving door. It's, a bad culture, and it's guys worrying about their job security all the time. No, in order to build a great organization, a solid organization, you need stability. You need to be able to let things play out. And I get it. The Bears are having a very underwhelming season, but we gave Jay Cutler 8 years. Lovie Smith had a number of years here. Of course, he had, a Super Bowl run in there and whatnot. But again, year 2, it's too early. It is. And I'll be the first one to admit it. But that's why I'm saying you let things play out. I would keep Matt Nagy absolutely for the rest of the year and assess it in the offseason, okay? I really would, because to me, here's the thing. I don't want to turn into one of these organizations that are run poorly, that fire guys every single season or every other season, folks. I'm telling you, that's a recipe for disaster. You don't build long-term success that way. You look at all of these successful organizations in the NFL and even across leagues. Bill Belichick, Greg Popovich, guys that have been there 20 plus years, folks. These are lifer guys. That is how you get stability in your organization. That is how you have long-term success. That is what you want, okay? So to me, I'm willing to ride it out with Matt Nagy, just how I'm willing to ride it out with Mitch. Can I still be critical of them? Absolutely. But I do believe that either it can be resolved internally or we can address it in the offseason. But as far as with the season, we're already unstable. Let's not make it more unstable. So, folks, that's where I'm at. Would you fire Matt Nagy? What are your guys' thoughts? Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. I'm not saying I'd never do it. I'm just saying I'm letting the season play out, then addressing it in the offseason, folks. But again, you guys remember this was the Mark Trestman thing. So a lot of people are saying this is Mark Trestman 2.0, where we had Mark Trestman for 2 years, and the first year offense was great, phenomenal, fantastic. Second year, we fell off a cliff, and then we fired Mark Trestman. Am I saying that wasn't the right move? No, but at the same time, Mark Trestman didn't really get a lot of time to turn it around. He got 2 years, and that's it. And same thing, John Fox, even though John Fox was awful, he only got like a year and a half. So to me, again, if you keep doing this, it signals instability, and I don't like that in an organization. I want the Bears to set themselves up long-term and get it right. I'd rather get it right, folks. I'd rather get it right no matter how long it takes. That's just where I'm at, folks. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below if you agree or disagree. As always, thanks for watching.